A Souq morning and welcome to Souq Business Landscape on Souq News Television. I'm Hans Mba. On this show, we take headlines from across the world, from Nigeria to Africa, all across Asia. Remember, you can interact, engage with us with the hashtag SBL. My guest today is none other than Mr. John Rogers Chooks. I like to say his name like that.
Good morning, Ikeda. It's nice seeing you in this attire.
You know, once again, I reiterate, the weekend on the Isle and on Souq News begins on Thursday.
Okay, so today
We started yesterday,
Okay.
so it's a spillover. Imagine what will happen tomorrow.
Where are you taking us to?
You're not looking bad yourself. I like the plaid look.
I'm just following your
It
footsteps.
ushers you into the weekend.
You've marked the register already, so we are behind you.
Welcome to the show. And
Thank
you, remember, interact with us. We cannot overemphasize that. It's hashtag SBL on social media and YouTube across board. Quickly, Business Day, Nigeria. This ongoing issue with Dangote and the government, the headline is blaring. Petrol imports from Malta hit $2 billion. So the cost is up 43 times. 43 times in 10 years, having risen by over 1.9 billion after 5 years of dormancy, of lull, of nothing happening. Chooks, do you think this issue is going to stop for the next 1-2 months? Because I don't think so.
There was this this music sung by, I think, Omawumi. So if you ask me, now who I go ask? That's where we are right now.
No, but
That is seriously where we are right now.
everyone seems to have their own view on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
On one side, people think it's a deliberate attack on Dangote via the West, because what he's planning to do, I'm talking about one side now, because what he's planning to do is going to strongly and largely affect the business we're doing out there. We're taking crude oil out and bringing it in. That's on the one side.
And spending dollars.
Serious dollars, not just little. So we're going to cut a huge chunk of that away. That's on one side. On the other side, people are monopolizing on his monopoly. They have called it that, quote unquote, that the guy gets into a place and he takes over. What side do you lean on?
Both sides.
Maybe you have your own side. Let's hear from you.
The good thing about it is that both sides hold water, gallonfuls of water, because the person arguing on the side of the
That's
West,
the most diplomatic answer I hear all the time, and very political.
the person arguing on the side of the West could be right, could be wrong. The person arguing on the side of monopoly could be right, could be wrong. But have we asked ourselves, what about the person arguing on the side of NNPC?
Are you a politician?
For now, no.
Okay. You see, I was right. But go ahead, please.
What about the person arguing on the side of NNPC? For, how do you call it? Eons of years. Is that what you used to call it?
Yes.
We've had 4 refineries that are not working.
Largely moribund.
All through this period, billions of that same dollars have been put into that same refinery, and it's still not working. So all that period, whose head has rolled? So this is directly what we know that NNPC is responsible. So if we have to hang somebody, let's hang them. And
But this whole thing
turn them
even
to-
started from them.
They know what they are doing. That's the basic thing. But nobody's holding them responsible. Because at the end of the day, we've had a government where the Minister of Petroleum all of a sudden started being the president of the country. So who are you going to call to question?
Twice now. Okay, so like you
He's got
said,
more than twice.
so who, I mean, 2 presidents, who now can hold them responsible?
Who can hold them responsible? Those that are supposed to hold them responsible say anything you bring to us, we will sign. I'm just quoting what they said.
And you know how it is. Anything or anyone that doesn't have anything or anyone they're accountable to is a recipe for disaster. We're talking from
Definitely.
humans to teenagers to children to organizations.
Definitely.
Is that what we're facing now?
Or in this sector, as we speak, we have gotten to a place where it's either we swim or we sink.
Are we swimming?
We are not, we're just floating right now. Fuel queues have returned on the island. Going home yesterday, it took the grace of God to get home because fuel almost finished in the car.
2 days ago,
And there was
worse.
no pump station to branch and buy. Except the guys that are selling in white containers. You now ask, where are they getting this from? Where are they getting it from? We now have a whole lot of oil marketers, Taju and Obi,
Oh Lord.
Oil and Gas Limited all over the place. These are also disasters waiting to happen. Slight fire somewhere in someone's homes, and you'll be wondering, did they stop bombs in homes? All because of kegs, fuel in kegs in homes. It's shameful though.
It is. So it's an ongoing problem, which is quite trending, by the way. Next headline: Nigeria targets 500 million from diaspora in August next month. Okay, so debt services crashes while this is happening, and revenue is rising. On Wednesday, we talked about Kenya briefly, and all the money that I've forgotten the figure now. All the money that is coming into Kenya and all the money that's going out of Kenya, a huge chunk, and we have this kind of thing that's going on here. Is this such a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a very bad thing.
Because we can't keep it in-house.
Well, now, it's just like when someone fails in class and you get home and your parents are saying, Chooks, what happened? How come you failed maths, you failed English? You said, Daddy, even that boy that takes first, he failed.
That's mind-boggling.
That's where we are right now. So our dependency in getting Forex is from individuals and Nigerians that have traveled. So what they are repatriating back is now what we think that we can use in showing up. That's failure.
How do we mitigate this?
Productivity.
You say that all the time, and it's come to we have to do it. Let's rethink it. Like, how can we bring it to work? How can we get there? Let's assume we start to produce. We're productive.
Okay.
What do we now do with them? Because that's another step in the ladder on the wrong.
Okay. 90% of West African countries depend on the West. 99.9% depend on China for machines, tools, India for medicine.
West and the East. Okay.
Just imagine, for pharmaceutical products, India. For clothes, Bangladesh. So imagine what Nigeria can service if we decide to get productive. So even the cabals themselves, this is the shameful part. Sometimes it's good to let's look ourselves in the face and tell ourselves that, hey, guy, we don't try. There is nothing that makes you wise or makes you normal or makes you good, like going to embezzle money. I don't know what to do with it. You carry it and go and stack in another man's country. That is arrant foolishness. Or like when you invest in your own country. We're not asking where you're getting the money from. Put it down in your country and develop industries, even if it's cottage industry, even if it's granite industry.
After that, we'll now ask you where it's coming from.
We don't even want to ask.
Once it's working,
we don't even want to ask.
But
you see people.
You sound like the new parents these days. Once you just bring the Rolls Royce, you park it outside.
We'll take you to the shrine.
And they say, take my daughter, have her.
Until your daughter comes back in a casket.
But that's what you just explained. Like, you don't care where the money is coming from.
I'm looking at those right now that are taking these monies out of this country.
Oh, yeah.
Abacha is still blessing us from the grave till tomorrow. It's a shame. So it's high time we start calling ourselves out. It's the lowest level of intelligence. To every Nigerian politician and civil servant out there, it's the lowest level of intelligence. So if somebody have not told us that, hey, we know well.
All right, we actually will. We want to believe that we are. Next headline, this is one I'd really want you to speak about. How Nigerians can finance homes without mortgage. And it just goes to explain, and I would quote Shehu Osidi, he's the managing director and chief executive Officer, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. He says, and I quote, Nigeria is a country that has a lot of houses it does not need, but needs a lot of houses it does not have. And it breaks my heart coming from, and it paints such a vivid picture. Because on Wednesday we're having a conversation. I was talking with Doc on the show, and he actually trashed that topic for a while, that we need housing right after food. Housing is the next necessity, and we don't have that. And Doc said, just take a walk, take a trip around the city of Lagos, for instance. You will know how much housing we need. People are sleeping. You know, the middle demarcation on the road, people are sleeping on them. People are sleeping under bridges. That sounds cliche, but
People are
it
paying
is so
250,000
real.
under a bridge to sleep
What?
for accommodation.
No.
Lagos State government had to go and evict them, and there was a landlord.
No way.
Oh yes, that didn't make the news that much.
That is new
That
to
is
my ears.
Now this is
250. No, you know why I wouldn't believe it? Because 250 can get you a place, a really nice place.
in Ikoyi.
No, of course not. I'm not talking about Ikoyi.
That is where
Did you mean
it's happening.
250 naira?
250,000 naira under a bridge somewhere here in Ikoyi. They demarcated it and put one bedroom under the bridge.
Oh, okay. They build something.
Yes, and it's been there for ages.
Jokes. Now I'm sad.
Don't get sad. Now this is where we always say, let's call ourselves out, and that is what Souq News stand for. Positivities. We won't see something going wrong and turn the other eye. There's this particular story for those that happen to be Bible students, or you just like reading. Achan. When Achan decided to go and steal what he was not supposed to touch, he was taking things that he never needed, things he would never ever wear, ropes that even in the next 100 years he would never wear them. Greed. When greed gets to the extreme, you can't explain it. That is what you get to see, the kind of houses that are being built around here. We are supposed to build housing for people, but a lot of people are building houses to hide money that are stolen. So you see somebody build a mansion he won't live in, build an estate that ordinary people can't afford. You see them scattered all over Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and co. If you go to some areas in Lagos, on the island, you'll now be wondering, you see an entire estate empty. Who is going to buy that kind of house? Even those that are likely going to buy it, they are not going to live there because maybe they are living abroad.
And dilapidation sets in
Definitely.
no one lives in a place.
Definitely. So that is what the guy from the Federal Mortgage Bank is talking about. You see those houses, they are there, but nobody's living in them because you can't afford it. And the person that built it is not living there, because if he tries to live there and put his name, they'll not ask him, where did you get the money from? Build one bedroom houses in Ikota, in Oshodi, in Ajegule, in every other place. People can afford them, rather than building for the super rich that don't even need it in the first place.
And we talked about it, the focus being for low income and mid income people, because they're the ones that actually you can't worry about rent or lease, because there's that cycle of the money is coming.
Yes,
because it's affordable, it's always going to be there.
Yes, and there was this particular project that was done some time ago, rent to own.
Yes.
We now ask ourselves, okay, what happened to it? Why don't we have it anymore? Lagos State government tried doing that at the time. They also tried replicating it some years back, but a lot of times we get to see where, I won't call them cabals. Some people just come in and buy it up. You now ask, where the person will buy this whole estate? Maybe you can't live there now. Then you now buy it up and now start renting to people. That's not fair.
So if you want to find out how you can acquire those mortgage without necessarily breaking the bank, find Business Day and check out that headline. So we're on to Kenya. Business Daily. Traders on edge as KRA goes for old unpaid taxes. So arrears there that it's been mentioned on this headline dates back over 10 years. Businesses that skipped amnesty are in trouble. So I don't know why tax that have been, should I say evaded? Not evaded. Evaded is not the word. Where you go back 10 years after having either forfeited it
Mhm.
or decided you didn't have because 10 years is such a long time. Then you now wake up one morning, you're like, wait, these guys owe me. It doesn't look like something that is a good place to be, especially government and businesses.
The Kenyan president, after making the U-turn on the financial bill, he has to go for someone. He has to go for something. So that's the ripple effect of him losing out from the protest. So we should expect to hear more.
Mm.
So if you know that you were granted amnesty from the tax, Ruto is coming.
And 10 years is a long time.
10
Long
years is a
time, meaning
long
that
time.
there's
It's interest.
chunk of money, yes. So we're going to see a lot of run.
Definitely.
Next headline, BAT sells factory parts to on nicotine pouch license flop. So this was announced yesterday in a commentary accompanying the financial results for the 6 months, January, of course, to June this year, in which their net profit actually dropped because there's no reason why they'll be selling when they don't have something to cry about. So it dropped 24.3% to 2 billion shilling in the 6 months year beginning.
The BAT you are talking about is the British.
Mm.
Is that one? Okay, good. But well,
You know why this is such a crazy headline is because these guys are making a ton of money
of course, yes,
without advertising,
definitely.
without radio advertising, TV advertising, without billboards.
Yeah, the
How can
the
can you try to explain that to us?
the health ministries and the agencies have clamped down on their ability to advertise.
So how are they
So
still making a killing?
it's
Because they are top
well,
2% of profit-making organizations across the world.
yes. Now you won't see them directly advertising, but you now see them in movies.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's where they now take that particular brand. You see them in movies, you see them in music videos, you see them in they are in your face in those places. But the normal regular kind of advertising, you won't get to see them.
They're hiding in plain sight.
Of it,
They're promoting in plain sight.
exactly. Then you also get to see them at events, class events. So then they say old habits die hard.
Mm.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what the Surgeon General says.
So can businesses doing badly emulate that? Because I see that happening too, but they don't declare the profits that listen. BAT is like Ogwego, like some people in some parts of Nigeria will say. So if those companies emulate them, how come they're not making that much, turnover? It's mind-boggling.
Okay. First, let's address Ogwego. So, Oxford Learner's Dictionary or any of it, you need to put that word down, go Google it, find out what it means, and put it in your dictionary. To emulate them, you have to have a marketing team that is not just savvy, but that is driven and bad as in
Okay,
bad.
well, sorry to cut you short. They're also well paid. So
yes,
I know
definitely,
that for sure.
Definitely, because it's difficult to put a product in people's faces when you can't put the product in people's faces in the first place.
Mm.
But they are doing it.
Please explain that.
That is just the way it's explained.
It's difficult to put the product in people's faces.
Yes, when officially you can't put the product in people's faces.
Yeah, it's difficult, but that's what I'm trying to find out.
They are doing it.
How?
Well, if I have to explain it to you, NBC will come this way. NBC will come this way. Then for those that are invested in BAT, keep smiling to the bank. Even if they say you're declaring loss, we are just watching. We don't know why I trying to evade, but we are watching.
I don't understand what's happening today, but I think I love it. Next headline, still on Business Daily, Kenya. Premium fuel demand surge drives 24 billion shilling imports into Kenya. What's your take on that?
Kenya needs Dangote refinery. Unfortunately, Dangote refinery is not working for Nigerians. Kenya needs NNPC. Unfortunately, for over 20 years, NNPC have failed. So,
but this is where Africa needs Africa. Dangote is going to be doing not just petrol for us, but for Africa as a whole.
It's possible that's where he's likely going to.
Like I said, that's why
Focus
I
right now.
feel what's going on now is happening, and it's going to happen even more strongly. Because you
Yeah,
can't just
it's-
come and take food from our mouths. That's what they're saying.
Well, that would be criminal. That's
For him to do it, or for them
For
not
those
to
people
let
say-
him do it.
For those people saying take food from my mouth, is it their money in the first place? You can't cripple,
You know-
put 200 and something million people under subjection for how long?
That's why you see it's such a bad thing to feel entitled. It's where we have learned these things from. When we
Yes.
see the people that have come ahead of us do it and do it easily.
And we now think is a normal thing.
Yes.
Like the boy that comes and stops a bus and say, "Oh, me da." In my mind, I said, "Did you give me money to keep for you?" So that is where we are right now. So just the way BAT is declaring loss, our own BAT too. Please don't declare loss. You have a whole lot of work to do.
Oh yes. We leave Kenya now. We'll go to business day. South Africa. Energy transition risks hit 1 trillion rand. Wow. So a study has found that South African banks have an exposure of almost 1 trillion rand to sectors vulnerable to the global energy transition. This could trigger policy proposals to cushion the blow to the financial system.
This is something we should stand on the roof and start shouting.
Right?
We should not start putting our pen and sign any form of treaties with the West when it comes to energy transition. Africa should not be pushed to doing it. Now they are going to have these issues because they must have signed some of those accords, and now they are banned by those accords. Now it's going to affect them because now they have to do
Without having full understanding.
yes. Even if they had full understanding, it's now okay. Good. Who stands to profit? Is your economy as good and as fast and as grown and as big as theirs?
That's a full
So if they
understanding.
decide to say, okay, let's start transitioning this fast, Africa cannot. The same thing they are trying to phase out right now grew their economies. As we speak, Germany has gone back and reactivated coal for
Yes.
energy.
Yes.
China has one of the highest consumption of coal for energy. So why is Africa making it look like we are the ones that are depleting the entire ozone layer? Please.
Africa is not making it look like that. The West is making it look
And Africa
like
is
we are.
buying that narrative.
That's what the problem is.
Please. If they want to bring the money for us to do the transition, oh, beautiful, bring it.
We'll transition.
Yes, we'll transition at our pace.
Next headline, potato prices rising after frost hits. Still in South Africa. So prices of potatoes is expected to increase starting this week as fields of crops, hectares and hectares of lands were damaged when temperatures dipped below zero last week. You see why this is such a bad thing? Personally, you know why it's such a bad thing? Because many of us haven't eaten yam in a long time. Yam, one tuber of yam, one
I
average.
just hear you say yam?
Yes.
The last place I saw yam was in the newspaper and on the screen. Did I hear you say yam?
I'm sorry we laugh about it, but we just have to stay positive. We have to stay in high spirits. I haven't had yam in such a long time that I forget, because a tuber of yam is between 9,000 and 12,000 naira. One small tuber of yam. So if potato, something is happening to potato.
Nothing should happen.
Nothing should happen to potato.
No,
Nothing.
definitely nothing.
Oh,
Now,
God, no.
I spent a larger part of my life in the north, all through. Now, if you get to Niger State, they are so blessed. Apart from having that vast land,
Flat,
yes,
arable land.
they are so blessed that you don't need to worry yourself about planting potatoes. Sweet potatoes.
Sorry, that's an aside. Does Wangida have a farm?
Yes, it does. So you don't need to worry yourself about once you've made a mistake in planting potato once on this farm, don't bother. Next year, it will grow by itself. That's what I saw and found out in Bida. As long as you've planted it here before, next year, once the rain come, it will grow on its own.
Wow.
So maybe, except maybe you don't need it, you can now weed it off. But if you don't weed it off, it will grow, it will germinate,
That's what juju
it will
potato.
produce. That is just the way they are. That is to tell you how much we are blessed, and we are still messing things up.
Hmm.
And they are kind of sweet potatoes is those red ones that you don't even need to cook. You can just there, peel it, sit down, and eat it.
Raw?
Yes, yes.
You're a caveman.
Oh no,
You're a caveman.
I'm telling you the truth.
Hmm.
If you don't mind the back, you can just wash it with the back and still eat it without cooking.
Let nothing happen to potato. Essay, please take heed. All right, next headline. Joburg Council approves 2.5 billion rand loan. This loan was initially turned down by, this was like the finance minister, and he says it did not provide essential details on how that is going to happen or how it was turned down. But he also said the city may not be in financial crisis, but the loan will help cover shortfalls and maintain service delivery. It's confusing. It reminds me of
Definitely.
politics here. He
Yes.
says they might
Yes.
not need it,
Yes.
but they can spend it.
Yes.
2.5 billion.
Yeah, it's called politics.
And you want to get into it.
That's a political statement. So he's just justifying why. We might not be shocked. It's possible that loan has even been approved and taken. They're just kind of pushing it so that by the time it hits you, that they've spent it, they've prepared your mind long time ago. It's politics.
When will things like this begin to change?
When we start holding people responsible.
We have been holding people
We've not.
responsible. No. What's the most we can do that we haven't done?
Who has gone to jail?
The people haven't done. Because
Who
I'm
has
referring
gone?
to the people now. I'm not referring to. Are you saying the cohorts? Let's assume what you say is true. They have shared the 2.5. So people that have shared the one person should take the other person to jail. Are you expecting that to happen?
If South Africans or those of the people in Joburg should say today, you account for that money.
That's what I'm saying. So the people now doesn't
course, yes,
include
now.
certain people.
Is citizen diplomacy.
So how do citizens hold the higher ups, the elites, accountable? Apart from
Either
certain ways that are being painted and touted to be wrong
well,
and negative.
We are going there on support. We are going on support. Now it's either you hold your reps. Yesterday we were talking. It's okay, good. Pick up your phones. There is somebody from my location that is representing me in the House of Rep. We'll have a senator. If 100,000 of us call him in 2 days, he will sit up. If he calls home and they tell him that there are 50,000 people sitting in your father's house waiting for you.
Do you think 50,000 or 100,000 is easy to come by?
To call him?
People, yes.
That is where the issue is. The people are not serious enough.
Organization comes in.
The people are not serious enough. We don't need to organize to do the call. I'll stay in my house and start calling you. Then those in the village will wait for you in your father's house. It's as simple as that. The people who send to represent us, they will sit up.
It's such a sad thing. We jump right onto Financial Express in Bangladesh. Rural markets driving FMCG growth. Does this have to do with what's happening food-wise? Because if you talk about rural markets, you can only think about what they sell, what the products are.
Yes, it tells you for what's happening in Bangladesh. For a long time and still continues, Bangladesh economy is doing well.
Very well.
So good. So when the people
they watch the show, by the way, we got confirmation that they watch us.
Beautiful. So if the people are doing well, that means they have higher purchasing power. So when they have higher purchasing power, fast moving goods will also
actually move fast.
Yes. So because they will also be able to consume more, consume better, to be more productive. So that is what you're saying. So both for the consumption, buying their own product, and also producing raw materials for those same companies, it's a two-way traffic.
Amazing. Bangladesh just stay getting. Next headline: states to tax mineral rights. Is it not something that's been happening? Why is it such a headline that states will begin to tax mineral rights?
Which country are we here now?
We're still in Bangladesh.
We're still in okay. It's let's just get to see when we hear this kind of news from Bangladesh. Be sure that we are going to get like the full gist in the next 7 days.
Well, I'm sure even if you open the papers, you could just get to it and knock yourself out.
Okay.
This is one that I like. Next headline: Ola suspends. Ola is a car manufacturing company. Ola suspends electric vehicle project to focus on electric scooters.
Yeah, well, Bangladesh is not like China. So for now, when it gets to EVs, they majorly will produce for themselves. But there's a whole lot of bikes in that region.
That's why I like this headline.
So let them focus on producing for themselves first.
It's something you mention often. It's like cook your own food.
Of course, yes.
Before you start to think what the next you sell to the next person and outside when you haven't taken care of home.
Exactly.
And at home, kind of like how India is. They're big on bikes. Easy movement.
Easy movement.
You know? And electric scooters, can you imagine India alone patronizing them alone? That's a killing.
Themselves alone.
Bangladesh, right? And you haven't talked about
it's-
exports now.
Yes.
It's a thoughtful idea.
And Malaysia is just their next door neighbor. And those ones ride bike for the gods. So they just know that the market is there.
That's a thinking.
And they're also looking at Africa.
A thinking nation. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Or I might begin to suspect that it's them that brought Keke here and not India.
They're also looking at
Because
Africa.
they used to be the family until they went their separate ways. All right, we're on to Gulf Times Business Qatar. QCB, Qatar Central Bank, issues DLT guidelines to enhance fintech ecosystem.
Well, these are the
If
kind of
Qatar puts hand, right,
yes,
for this fintech thing,
they are there already.
it's
They are there
a
already.
wrap for everyone.
Now I want to take off my glasses and, if you permit me, I swear for some of you.
Your glasses will not make it more serious.
It's just that
What people do is
so that the gods will see my eye.
remove-
I know I'm very serious. You'll see my eyeball. Now, for those that have been wondering, I think let's look directly and address to those that handle our financial sector, those that are in control of the economy. Qatar is bigger than us. They are wealthier than us. They are richer than us. They are more productive than us.
Across board.
Yes. Now, for those wondering, DLT, distributed ledger technology. Now, forget all those blockchain. That is what it is.
You need to speak on blockchain one of these days. I suspect you.
That is just simple what it is, blockchain. Now, what are they trying to do? They are trying to ease the ability of banks, big banks, major banks, micro banks to all be on DLT. That is making business faster, more innovative, simpler, less expensive. And they are bringing the guidelines to run this whole thing. And we're here sourcing every single thing that has to do with Nigerian banks to India. Somebody should slap us.
You know, I see what you're saying. And I want to also reiterate that I love the way Qatar moves, especially many of the Asian countries, up top Asian countries, the GCC. You know how over here we like to throw money at problems. But Qatar, what Qatar does, what I see Qatar, what are those other countries?
All those Middle East countries.
Yes. They picture the problem, the solution is there, and they throw money at that solution.
And not just throw money at the solution.
Non-stop.
No matter who the person is, if you like, come from US, come from Russia, come from England, you come and provide that solution in their own home. And you don't go with
They
it.
make it conducive for you. Just do
And
it.
you don't go with it.
Or funding it. It's so amazing. And for want of time, we just run through the rest of the headlines. Ministry of Finance holds workshop on transitioning to program-based budgets for government, semi-government entities. Also, QSE slips on sleeky global oil prices, foreign funds square off position. They take a peek in China. They say China reveals a $41 billion price tag of plan to boost consumption. Amazing.
We
So,
need to talk about this.
for want of time.
Yes, no, just 1 minute.
Okay,
now,
please.
for those that are wondering why are they trying to boost consumption, it's simple. How do you rejig an economy or put a bite on an economy? Put spending money in people's pockets. Let people buy. Simple.
But that's hard.
It's not
You can't
hard.
just put money in
It's
people's
not
pockets.
hard.
How do you do that?
It's not, that is what they are doing. It's not hard. When you hear China or they devalue their currency on purpose so that it will be cheaper for them to export to you. The US will stay there and be crying. Devalue your own.
You see why I didn't want you to speak. Financial Times.
Then
London.
Nigeria will devalue our own currency because we are
Chooks,
printing naira.
Don't speak, please,
Okay.
because the show will not end.
Okay, apologies.
Let's just run through headlines. Financial Times London. US economy beats growth forecast as Fed weighs rates cut timing options. OpenAI launches, this one I love. OpenAI launches online search tool in direct challenge to Google's supremacy.
Give Google 1 month.
They'll top it.
They already have an AI for Google search, but give them 1 month. They will prioritize it.
And then there's a war coming.
It's good. It's just that we are not the ones making the money.
Business Post in India. Concerns grow over RMG backlogs. Fear of losing buyers. Also, BB pumped 25,521 Creori into banks on Wednesday, 2 days ago. I was going to break down Creori and what it means and all that stuff, LAT and Creori, but it's a story for another day. Dhaka reawakens amid 7-hour break. Sorry, this is the much we could take on the show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Remember, hashtag SBL across board social media. Let's continue the conversation away from the screen. I'm Hans Mba. With me, Chooks John Rogers. It's a tail end for Souq Business Landscape. See you same time, 7 a.m. on Monday. Have a lovely weekend.